Hello and welcome to the Truths and Perspectives podcast, where one person's truth is another person's perspective. The place for intriguing conversations with interesting people from business owners, entrepreneurs, artists, entertainers, and athletes, from the most general topics to the unexpected and the taboo, so that you have a different point of view to help educate and expand your mind and offer a different way of thinking. I'm your host, JJ Villar, and with me today, we have an extraordinary gentleman who has linked up as a father and son dynamic duo from two very different industries, joining together on a new business venture that is set to pave the way for the cannabis industry in the NFT and crypto space. Andy Broadway is an accomplished best-selling author, strategic advisor, and brand and business advisor who has written on topics including social media, reputation management, personal development, and computer repair. His broad expertise has landed him features on NBC, CBS, and CNN, and allowed him to build a view count of nearly 15 million views on his personal YouTube channel. He is an extraordinary gentleman with a new project that he's here to talk about today that's in the NFT and crypto space, along with a wonderful book that hopefully he'll clue us in a little bit about what's coming up in the works in this space. Andy, it is such a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me onto your show. And yes, my newest book is called NFT Secrets Revealed. And in that book, I basically talk about, the subtitle is everything you wanted to know, but were afraid to ask. Because as you know, the NFT space is kind of new. Sometimes if you do like a little quick survey of, ask 10 people, one person will know what it is. Two people will pretend to know what it is. So I really wrote the book for that purpose. So appreciate you having me on the show, and excited to share about this joint venture that I did with my son, and bringing the best of both of our worlds together into one space.
Well, I'm excited to have you here because I'm a newbie to the NFT and crypto space, like a lot of people and a lot of followers. And I thought that NFT, in my perspective, was something that was a fad, that was just going to be the new in thing for a little bit, and it was just going to go away. But it doesn't appear that it's going anywhere. And you're doing something creative with the cannabis and NFT space. Would you share a little bit about what you're working on?
So yes, I'm going to agree with you. A lot of people thought that it was a niche and it's kind of a gimmicky thing, but there's so many big brands on board right now creating their own NFTs, from McDonald's to Nike to every, Sylvester Stallone's got his own NFT. So there's a lot of people that are in the space of the NFT space, but our project is taking the best of both worlds and bringing them together. So we have a project called Crypto Reefer NFT. And that project, the Crypto Reefer NFT, is the world's first strain-based NFT, cannabis NFT project, meaning that each month, twice a month, we're going to be dropping a new strain of a cannabis theme or design. So in the cannabis world, there are literally hundreds of different cannabis strains that are we looking for. Very first strain that we're releasing is Super Lemon Haze. And on your screen, you'll see there's a design of Super Lemon Haze. We actually took a little bit of our own creative design and created this design that looks like a superhero with a lemon kind of flavor to it. So you got the yellow mask and the yellow cape. He's sitting on a box of lemons and a retro box in a lemon field. So that's one of the strains. The next strain that we're going to be releasing in the future is G13. So if you're familiar with the cannabis industry, there's a whole story, like a fable or a story around G13, where it had some like government, FBI, DI, FBI, DEA, CIA stuff in the story. So where that character, and you'll see it on the screen here, that character looks like he is a DEA agent. He's wearing a bulletproof vest. He's got DEA with the G13 on the cover. He's got a pair of handcuffs in his hand. He's got this top secret folder. He's inside of a bunker, so it looks like it's underground stuff. He's even wearing like a police belt So he's got like a gun and a taser and handcuffs and all that stuff on him. So that is the character that you see here. Now we have two characters. We call him Mr. Bud, and then we have Mrs. Bud. So every month there are 420 of each strain, those 420 male of the Super Lemon Haze and 420 female of the Super Lemon Haze. And then the next drop for that month, there'll be 420 of each of that next strain. So total of 1,680 a month will be dropping, 840 with each strain. That's all that will ever be created. And there in that mix are 20 of both the male and the female. There's 20 rares that are in there. So you'll have the gold and the black theme. You saw the art. It looks really cool and amazing and animated. It looks really, really cool. So we partnered up with a designer that designed for Disney and Amazon and a bunch of other characters and done a bunch of 3D work on it. So we're super excited about that.
Absolutely love this. I mean, the characters are amazing. It's kind of like Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head on crack. I love it. in a very good way. And
Right.
you know, I'm curious because, you know, as I'm learning more about the NFT space and tokenization, you know, I know that a lot of it comes within, you know, the utilities behind it, the meaning behind it, what the story is, you know, what the community is, and everything that comes behind it. It's not just some figurine or a cool design that people can invest in. You know, I want to ask you, why is this important? Why cannabis in the NFT space?
Well, first of all, I'm not a cannabis user. I'm not judging anybody that is. My son is the expert in that field. He's been hired to consult on many, many projects. And I wanted to team up with him and create this really cool project together. And I agree with you. Why cannabis? Number one, in any industry, you want to find an industry that's, you know, that's got a good niche to it. So there's a lot of followers and a lot of users of cannabis. Legal, and of course in some states it's illegal, but majority of states it's legal. So you have a big large audience. Second of all, I saw that there were, from a strategic standpoint, a lot of ways that we could create a variety in there. So a lot of drops in the NFT world, you'll see a 5K or a 10,000 drop, and they just drop once. What I wanted to do was create this fun project that every month there was new art coming out so that people could, you know, collect, like collecting Pokemon cards or whatever cards. These became collectible because not only there's only 420 male and 420 female, but each month the users and the collectors could be used to getting something kind of new. So it always is new and fresh with the designs. And then the second part of it, you brought it up about the utility. So we're not just creating an art. We are the world's first strain-based cannabis NFT, but we also are the world's first cannabis strain NFT that has a utility, a two-part utility. The first part of the utility is where we are funding a project, a nonprofit organization that helps people that have been either wrongfully imprisoned because they carried a little bit of cannabis that was illegal 10 years ago, or they are nonviolent criminals, where we will help them get legal help, get them out of the prison system, and then on the backside of it, help them rehabilitate so they don't reoffend again. So we partnered up with two separate companies there. The other goal that we have is to feed 2 million people with Feeding America. So that is a great program. I've got a lot of friends and colleagues that fund that particular program. So we've got a lofty goal, and I believe we could do 2 million a year, 2 million meals a year that we could do through Feeding America. So that's what's super exciting. So that is the kind of the nonprofit part of what we're doing, donating a minimum of 10% every month of the sale of the NFTs. But on the other side of the utility, what we're doing is something really unique. And that is, if you're an NFT holder of one of the Crypto Reefer NFTs, you will get access to 2 live events for 1 year. Now, these live events are going to be super exclusive. For example, in Las Vegas, we will buy out an entire hotel for our party for the day, meaning that we will take over the hotel. And in this particular hotel we're looking at, we'll have 4 different stages. Well, we'll bring in DJs, recording artists, and put them on the stage. And you cannot get onto the property unless you are an NFT holder. So we'll be doing 2 of those events a year. And when you buy an NFT, you will have access to 2 live events for 1 year. So, and then what's really cool, and I'll let you know, but the other thing is, if you are the very first person to collect the first 24 strains, which is over a period of 2 months, 1 year, the first person that collects 24 of the collectibles of each one of the different NFTs, we're going to give that person $100,000 in cash or some sort of crypto equivalent. So if they want it in Bitcoin or they want it in ETH, we'll give it to them in whatever they want. But that first person that does that, we're going to give them $100,000 in cash.
That's absolutely amazing, and what I'm hearing, if I'm hearing you correctly, it really is that you're gearing and building something around a community-based project and bringing people together. I've had the fortunate pleasure of knowing you from the personal development space and as a friend, and on the back end of what you do and what you've provided in the community with working with some great names in personal development, and I know that the intention you bring in is education, not just entertainment. You've produced some outrageous events that have truly provided space for growth, education, and community, as well as networking possibilities to create opportunities for more people. And it sounds like you really are diving deep into this cannabis space with your son, which is so cool, to be able to be working with your own son and creating this space that is going to help provide opportunities and change the way that people see not only NFTs, but also the cannabis space.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, from your perspective, so why should people pay attention to NFTs?
So in my opinion, why people should pay attention to NFTs. Number one, I want you to change the word a little bit from an NFT and make it more simpler by calling it a digital asset, a verifiable digital asset. That's all an NFT is. When we do the collection of 420, when you purchase one of them, you're the only owner of that one of that 420, and it's verifiable on the blockchain. It also has some smart contracts associated with it and a bunch of other stuff that I won't get into here. But why people should pay attention to it, it is the ultimate way to collect and be a verified owner of it. That's the thing on the blockchain. Nobody can change the record. Nobody can come in and say, oh yeah, JJ doesn't own that anymore, I do. No, he can't unless you've sold it to him or transferred it to him. Because on the blockchain, it's literally, that record is on thousands and thousands of computers, and it's hard coded, and it can't be changed unless you approve of a transfer of it. Either you sell it or give it away. Then let's say you gave me one of your NFTs or sold it to me, now it would be in my digital wallet. And so that's what's super excited about it. What's also super excited about it is there are so many variables that you're going to be able to use with the NFTs in so many different spaces. The cannabis happens to be one of them. And let me make something really super clear here. We're not selling any cannabis. So you're not getting a bag along with your NFT. The people are asking me that. No, we're not in the selling of the product, nor are we offering or selling or making an offer for any cannabis at all. We're just using the art, the cute art that we're doing and wrapping it around a particular theme. I'm involved with other projects that we're wrapping other things into it. So it will work with any business. This just happens to be one of the businesses. And NFTs are the future. You just pay attention to it.
Absolutely. I agree. And, to my own ignorance, as I learn more and as I grow and educate myself more, I love to be able to help educate those that follow and listen, and we'll definitely be talking more about blockchain with some other guests in the future, but in regards to what it is that you're doing, what is something that you foresee happening with your NFT in this particular space that could potentially benefit the mindset around cannabis?
So that's great. So one of the things that we're going to do is provide education in the platform. So provide educational services to educate people on cannabis. We'll also provide some other education, especially from my son's standpoint, on the different strains. He can go in, he can tell you on a particular strain the benefits that are in the strain, because it's all done, where it came from, the origins of it. And that's what's really powerful when it comes to his knowledge. And by the way, we're talking about Micaiah here. So he's able to talk about all the benefits and all of the phenotypes. We'll also bring in other people that are experts in that field, because there's a lot of benefit to the CBD side of it, and some benefits to the THC part. And again, I'm not the expert on that. I've only used the CBD part to help with muscle relaxation and other parts. There's so many benefits to that from an education standpoint. And at these events that we're doing, we're going to be having breakout rooms to help educate and to have and educate people in that particular field. So it's not just a party event where there's music going on. We're going to be educating people not only in the cannabis space, but we'll also educate them in the NFT space. And at those events, there'll be vendors that we pre-approve and vet that will be there talking about products if they want to, or services, or dispensaries and that sort of thing. So it's massive what we have planned.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I know from speaking to your son as well, from the healing properties perspective, like you mentioned, from the CBD side, and knowing that, regardless whether we do agree with it, we disagree with it, again, this is truth and perspectives, to be able to open and expand somebody's way of thinking, to know that, my truth is somebody else's perspective. And there are healing properties, depending on who you ask and what they need or what they use it for, it's going to be benefiting somebody from that point of view. And I love what you're doing regarding the community aspect. Now, as we close up, because I know I want to be respectful of your time, and I believe you've got a flight to catch today, so I really appreciate the time that you're spending to be on this podcast with me today and share your knowledge. So I want to ask you something. I always close out with this. I want to find out a truth about NFTs, or the crypto space or the cannabis space that you're involved with, that you're working on this amazing project, that you really want people to hear you and feel you out, and understand that they might see it in a different perspective. What is a truth for you that you'd like people to know?
So the truth for me is that the underlining concept of NFTs, it is the future. There is no doubt about it, because of the underlining factor of what they call the blockchain. It's you can verify a digital asset that you're buying, not just digital, but now we're able to verify a physical asset by adding an NFT to it. So the truth is that every purchase in the future, here's what I'm going to say: in the future, you will be buying and selling products that have an NFT component to it, because it really is going to be the ultimate digital receipt. That's that in my opinion.
That's amazing. And I know that there's a lot of great names, from Snoop Dogg
Yes.
changing his, I believe it was Def Jam Records, or excuse me if I'm incorrect on that, but he created an entire record label in the metaverse space, which that's a whole different conversation for the metaverse. Do you see yourself doing something inside of the metaverse with this particular project?
Oh, 100%. That we already have a roadmap that there will be we will either create our own metaverse, because this is a misnomer. There's not one metaverse. They should have called it metaverses. That's what they should say, metaverses, because there's multiple. And Facebook does not own the metaverse. Make that clear too. A lot of people misunderstand that. So there's a truth. Facebook doesn't own metaverse, right? There's a whole bunch of metaverses out there, metaverses that are there. So either we will create our own, or we will be inside of other metaverses that are appropriate. And in my opinion, like what Snoop Dogg is doing, he's going to turn his whole record label company, and they're only going to be releasing NFTs now of the records and the albums and the songs. So it's very, very powerful.
I love that. And Andy, from your point of view, what would be a perspective shift you would love to offer the audience listening in on this project, or NFT, crypto, or cannabis?
Yeah, so just overall, the perspective of when it comes to NFTs being a digital asset, looking at it from a different frame of view, but also looking at the same frame of view, meaning that all we're doing is we're adding the word NFT to a product or service. That's all we're doing. We're adding the definition or calling it an NFT, but in reality, it's the same thing that we've been selling for years, but we're adding it in with different perspectives and different ways of wrapping it. So the whole thing of having a perspective of the building a community around your NFT is that you're going to own your community. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all the other social platforms you don't own any of those platforms. You don't own your audience. But once you build your own community inside of your NFT community, you now own that relationship. The perspective is that we're going to be able to communicate directly with the holders of our NFTs, not just on this project, but other projects that I'm working on. The relationship is connected.
I love that. Thank you so much. You guys heard it here first. We have the amazing Andy Broadway, best-selling author and now co-creator for this amazing project in the NFT crypto cannabis space. Go ahead and tell us where we can find more about you and support you, and let us know how we can support you and where.
Wonderful. Our main website that you can go to is cryptoreefernft.com, cryptoreefernft.com. And right there, you'll have all the links. You'll want to get on what we call the Greenlist, which is a whitelist, which all that really means is you'll be on the list to be able to purchase the NFTs before it goes public. So it's a pre-sale. You'll get on that list. That would be the most important list. You'll also want to join our Discord because that's where the conversation is happening. That's where our community is happening. You'll want to join that community, and you're going to want to also follow us on Twitter too, because that's where a lot of the community, a lot of the announcements that are being made. So you want to stay tuned to that. I'm also going to throw one other thing at you, and that is, remember we talked about the 420, you have an NFT where you buy the NFT and you get access 1 year to events. Well, the very first drop that we're doing, if you are a Super Lemon Haze NFT holder, you'll have lifetime access to all of our events in the future. It doesn't expire after a year. You'll have lifetime access to any of those events. So you definitely want to be, depending on when you're hearing this podcast, you definitely want to be a Super Lemon Haze holder. If not, you may want to have to find it on the secondary markets somewhere.
Amazing. Definitely, Andy, count me in for support. You guys heard it here. Make sure you sign up, get on the green list, which is formerly known as the white list, but in this space, they're keeping it cannabis themed, which is brilliant, amazing, building a community for education, entertainment, and so much more. Thank you so much, Andy, for being here with us. Make sure you guys tune in next week here for our Truths and Perspectives, where someone's truth is another person's perspective. But if we learn to understand each other, the world would be a more forgiving place. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Join our Discord and get greenlisted today and be a part of our discussion. Click below and we'll see you inside.